teachers at Voice of Calling. Um, yeah, thank you everyone for coming here. Today is the first day of Future of Tanzania. Uh, we we have some goals of Future of Tanzania, mainly making sure our students, you guys, are able to learn Python and be able to use the Python in a very smooth manner. And yeah, so our three main points that we want to get through are our four Python certificates from sololearn.com, mastery of Python, and become an expert programmer, including algorithmic coding. So we will be doing coding competitions and hackathons at the end. But before I start, I just want to say we are so happy that you guys are here. You guys took the time from your day to like actually devote your time to coding, and everyone who is here to learn, I really appreciate it. And we're gonna actually introduce the teachers one by one. Once again, I am Sean Kim. I will be teaching you today, and please introduce yourselves, the rest of the teachers.
Hi, I'm Nathan.
My name is Aiden Park.
Hi, I'm Justin Kim.
Hi, I'm David Chung.
Hi, I'm Jacob's son.
Hello, I'm Jacob Kwan.
Hi, I'm Baron Kim.
Hi, I'm Eva.
And our last member is Taeyang Paik. Yes, and this is going to be your main cast of teachers that you guys are going to be seeing. We will be helping through sub lecturers who are going to be putting things in live lecture notes, as well as Q&A teachers who are going to be helping you in the Q&A section. And if things are needed, feel free to reach out to ask to us throughout the lecture if you have any confusion. So before I move on, I'm gonna hand it off to David Chung, who's actually gonna go into the showdown as well as the hackathon at the end, which is sponsored by CSYA, which is David's organization. So I'll let you take it, David.
Hello, I'm David Chung, and I founded a nonprofit dedicated to providing computer science education a few months back. So at the end of the course, you're going to have two opportunities to kind of put all the skills you've learned to use. The first is going to be a showdown, which is basically a programming competition. There's going to be both a written and a like programming aspect to it. It'll take place over 48 hours. The problems will be made by my organization, and it'll basically give you an opportunity to kind of put your coding skills into like a competition kind of environment. Following the showdown event, there is going to be a 4-day hackathon. The hackathon will be an international hackathon, so there will be teams from all over the world. It'll be in teams of 2 to 4, and we have a few sponsors. So if you would like to join the hackathon, you will receive like some premium plans, like free domains kind of stuff. And basically, the premise for the hackathon is you'll be given 4 days. You'll be matched with the mentor, and you'll just be working on creating some kind of project that will be judged by professors here in the US. That's kind of it for the two events.
All right, thank you, David, for the introduction on the competitions. These competitions will be going on towards the last days of the Future of Tanzania program, and yeah, so today is our first day. We're just gonna get started right away. I'm gonna share my screen. hope everyone can see my screen. So first thing is first, for you guys to do your homework as well as just kind of experiment on your own, you're gonna have to download this thing called Visual Studio Code, which allows you guys to actually practice Python without Wi-Fi. So, to install it, I'm going to show you the steps how to do it. I'm assuming that most of you guys have Windows computer, and so I'm going to go off of how to do Windows. However, I personally can't really download a Windows version because I have a different running system. So I'll just show you guys the basic steps. So to first install Visual Studio Code rather than the Python, we're going to get Visual Studio Code. We're going to go to the installer. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the installer in the live lecture notes tab. If you were to all go there, you should be getting the file downloaded automatically. And once it does download, just click on the file that is downloaded and just follow the directions to download VS Code. So I'll give everyone's until the 30 for you guys to download. If you guys still haven't downloaded by then, it's fine. I'll just show you guys the next step. So I want all the students as well as the teachers, if they haven't, to download VS Code right now. Just 2 more minutes, guys, to download it. I do understand that some people don't have the fastest downloading speed, so it's okay. We understand. If everyone already has downloaded it, please let me know. Yeah.
Hello guys.
Hi. Hello.
Okay,
How are you?
yeah, I'm fine. I'm Ariel Ayo, and I think we have been together for some time now. I'm the teacher here, and I'm guiding them. So I think we can also do some introduction from this side, right?
All right. Yeah, that'd be really
Yeah.
nice for us to.
Okay. So let's start with the first student, Cecilia.
Hi.
Okay, that's all.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Cecilia Williams from Arusha Science High School. I'm in grade 11.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm happy to study Python.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Huwag ginagawa mo kumbali. Ulikiria nawe usogea hapo mbele.
Hi, my name is Priella. I'm an Year 12 graduate from Arusha Science High School, and I'm excited to start my Python classes today.
We're excited to meet you too.
Hello, my name is Bulgaria. I'm a 4 graduate from Sinon Secondary. I'm happy to study Python.
Hi, my name is Geoffrey. I've graduated from Ilbori Secondary School for my class 12 studies. I'm happy to study Python with you.
Hello, my name is Mtanzi. I've graduated grade 12 and I'm happy to study Python with you guys.
Hello, my name is Elipenda, a Form 4 graduate from Kimaseki Secondary. I'm happy to study Python.
Yeah, okay, so that's it for now, and I think we can continue.
Yes, thank you. It was really nice seeing everybody. So, I'm gonna continue sharing. So the next step is once we have VS Code, we have to get Python onto VS Code. So we have some prerequisites, but as long as you have VS Code, it should not matter. So the first step is going to be, I'm just going to share my entire screen. Your first step is going to be opening VS Code. As you can see here, I've been doing other things, but it's okay. So first, you want to go to extensions, which is the weird cube things on the side. And then once you have gotten that, please go to Python. On the tab bar, top, search Python. And once you do that, you should get the first one is going to be it's going to be this blue and yellow thing. And there's going to be a button that says install. And if you click that, the Python should be automatically added to, what's it called? The VS Code. However, another step you have to do, I'm just going to go on while you guys probably install it, is to install a Python interpreter. For Windows, what you have to do is go to Python we got to go to python.org. And if you look here, mine says Mac OS because that's my version. However, you guys are going to download Windows, and you're just going to download the latest version, which is going to be on the top. And once you download that, you're just going to follow the steps given. And yeah. Oh, Python is also installed. Then, fine. We're good then. All right, then let's start with our lessons then. So today what we're going to go over is if else loops and loop and inputs through W3 Schools, which is a website that we're going to use mainly for our teaching. And so I hope everyone can see the screen. So first, let's start with if and else. Let me just get VS Code up and running. Yeah. So before I move on, I just want to give you another code. If you can't access VS Code, there's this website called Replit, where you can just make an account and code online, but this does require Wi-Fi, so it's not the most ideal per se. But it is something, so I'll just show you guys, and then you guys can just create a REPL, go by language, and then do like this. I'm going to be using a Replit. Functions. All right. It seems like everyone is ahead. So I'll just do a quick overview, then I'll move on to functions then. So I hope everyone knows if else function is basically just saying if else functions just are like if this happens, move on to this. We're going to use there's the equal sign, the not equals, the less than. Then not less than equal to, greater than, and the greater than equal to. And you're just going to use this as if. You can write the syntax, like I emphasize, is important. And make sure you always have that indent there because the indentation is important. And this indentation rule does apply for all of them, including the while loops and the for loops. So since you guys do already know how to use if and loops and such, I'm gonna actually just move on to like the basic problems that are given. Uh, give me a second. Let me just pull them up real quick. So I hope everyone has their, what is it called? Not Notion, their VS Code open, ready to code. I'm personally going to use Replit because I just find it much more comfortable. And so, yeah. So we're going to do a set of simple problems that I will show you the problems. We're going to go in order because there are several. I hope everyone can see this. Yeah, so we're going to start with problem 1, which states to write a program that receives an integer input from the user and determines whether the integer is even or odd. I'm hoping you guys know how to do inputs. Uh, if not, I'm going to just show you guys really quickly. So to get an input from the user means, you know how when you print something, you get something on the console? To get an input from the user is instead of us making a variable beforehand, like Apple, is it Apple is equal to 4, instead of predetermining a value, we're actually going to let the code try to find a way for us to for the user, me, to put in an input indirectly. So the format is input and parentheses, and that's it. However, between this parentheses, what you can do is you can just put quotation marks and then write, please enter the number of apples. And then they'll ask, and then you'll be prompted to actually get the type in the value and then Apple. And if I were to run this, I would get an error. And you might be thinking, why is that? Because Apple, what I want Apple to be right now is be an integer value, right? You won't perceivably get an error, but it won't do as you want it to be. So, because the input will always get it as a string, so you have to cast it as it change it into a different variable, into a integer. Excuse me. So that is the basics of how to get inputs from the person. So let's do the first problem. Like I said, write a program that receives an integer input from the user being me. That means you have to use the input thing that I just talked about. And you got to use that to determine whether the integer is even or odd. Even or odd. I'm not going to do it. A quick I'll give you guys until the 51 to try it out. I will have Discord open. I'm gonna stop streaming, and then after I call time, I will like explain how to do it in. So until then, until the 41, you guys have a bit of time to try this one out. Don't think too much about it. It's not it's not like so complicated as you might think it would be. Just try to think about the simple and the basics. So until the 41, I will be quiet. If you need any help, please leave it in the question and answer chat so our other teachers can help you and assist you with this. Remember, guys, we're just doing problem 1, and you guys have a minute or so to do it. I'm actually going to go over how to do this, how to do the problem 1, which is I'm going to reread the problem, write a program that receives an integer input from the user and determines whether the integer is even or odd. So our first step is to get the input, right? So I'm going to name this first one num for number that we're going to receive. Just going to put num is equal to, and remember, we're trying to get a integer value. So I have to use int to cast the input, and we have to ask the user to put in an integer value. So I said, and then once this is going to ask to input a number. Now, the second half of the problem is to check if the number is even or odd. So we're going to write if statements. If num mod 2. Num mod 2 means after dividing the number by 2, what is the remainder? If the remainder is equal to 0, that means number is divisible by 2. Print even. Because if a number is divisible by 2, it is even, because that is definition of even. If not else, we're going to use an else statement here. Print odd. And if you were to run this, it's going to prompt you to type in a number. I'm going to type in 4. The 4 is even. If I type in 17, 117, it says odd. I have to use the online compiler. So guys, if you want to know how to use Replit, it's very simple, and it's very similar to what is it called, VS Code, but it's with less steps. And if you see here, I'm actually going to go out. And I'm going to press this button. Yeah, to just make a REPL, you just press create REPL, and it'll tell you which language you need, and then it'll create REPL on its own. And that's how you use a Replit. In terms of VS Code. Give me a quick second, please, because I want to make sure everyone can use VS Code right now. Okay, then this is I'll be teaching you guys how to use a VS Code now, actually, instead of using Replit. I was not exactly prepared for this, but it's okay. So first, you're gonna have to make a empty folder. I'm just gonna name it hello. Okay. And after you get this and make the file, you'll be prompted into this thing called a terminal on the bottom. On the terminal in the bottom, search up mkdir hello. And after that, I spelled it incorrectly. mkdir hello. And then under there, cd hello code. And then once you get there, you're going to be prompted with this new window that says welcome and such. You're actually going to make a new. And then you can type in here, and once you do, wait, give me a second, please. And then you actually have to open to run Python. You have to open the Python interpreter. So in this case, you're gonna have to open the command palette. I'm not sure how you would open it on the Windows computer. Unfortunately, I know how to open it on my you would for Windows, I mean for Mac, it's up arrow command P. For the Windows, I am not really sure about that. If yes, if one of the other teachers could fill in on how you would use Windows. Okay, yeah, sorry if it's small. Yeah, you're supposed to get the command palette on the top, which you would. If you look at my commands here, it says up command P. Give me a sec. For Windows, it'd be Control Shift P. And once you do that, you're gonna be prompted with these things on the top. It says here, type in. First, you would type in Python. Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing yet. My VS Code isn't acting the way I want it to, so I'm gonna have another teacher explain it. It's seems like David Chung will be doing that. My apologies.
Okay, so I'll be teaching you guys how to basically open VS Code and like run it on your computer. So this is for like you guys who are on Windows, by the way. So let me just share my screen. Um, Sorry, one second. One second. Okay. So so basically, once you guys have installed VS Code on your computer, basically all you just need to go is you just need to go to your search bar, and then basically it should pop up. So when you click on that, yeah, it should pull up like this black screen. There might be like a welcome page like this one with like the patch notes and whatever. You can just X these out. You can also just ignore that. That's just from a previous program I ran. So if you want to like make a new what was it, a new program, first of all you need to create a file. So actually, going back, I will need to probably go into my like file explorer, and then basically make a new file. And then when I open it, I have to open it with like the folder. So for example, this is my Python folder, so I'll just open that up. You can just trust all of this. But like basically the idea is that you want to create a new folder, and then you want Visual Studio Code to open that folder, because that's where you're going to put all your programs in. So yeah, you just use open folder to open the folder that you just created on your file explorer. So then again, you can remove that, and then basically in order to make a new file, I would hit the file button, and then I would hit new file. Now you might have like some options. Of course, we want to make a Python file, so I'll do that, and then you'll make a new file like this, and you can see it's called untitled1. We probably don't want it to be called untitled1, so oh, maybe we cannot rename it. Hold on, 1 second. Okay, maybe that was okay. Sorry. So when we make a new file, wait, something's not right. So yeah, basically instead of just hitting a Python file, if you want to like actually name your file, so for example, I'll just name it class1, then you'll just add the .py extension like that, and then okay, so then hitting that should create a Python file here, and then yeah, there we go. So now we have a file named class1.py, or whatever you want to name it. And basically from here, we can just start coding now. So like here, I'm gonna just write a simple print statement like print hi or something. And then in order to run it, you can see this triangle button in the top right corner. So yeah, just make sure to press that. And then yeah, as you can see, under the weird command stuff, yeah, it prints out hi. So yeah, that's just the basics of running your Visual Studio Code program. Yeah. I guess if there are any questions, you can just ask the other teachers in the chat. Oh, wait, in case some of you were wondering, you might notice that there's like some weird text at the top before the actual hi message comes out. That's normal, and this is basically just like Visual Studio, just like opening the file on your computer and running it. So yeah, just like look to the bottom of that to see like your actual output. So here we can see our actual output is high. Just in case anyone needed questions about that.
All right, guys. There's some certain problems. I will be using Replit to actually explain the code. Um, just because I'm using Replit doesn't really change the structure of the code, anyways. So it should be fine. Um, yeah. So the code is going to be the same. The only difference is when you run the program, you'll see it a bit differently, and the run button will be a bit different. So, yeah. So they're all done with the program or opening the I'm assuming they all have VS Code. I already explained the problem one, so I'll just move on to problem two. Yeah. So problem two says write a program that accepts three integers from the users and prints the largest numbers. Okay, yeah. Problem one, I went over, so I'll just move on to the second one. Write a program that accepts three integers from the user and prints the largest number. So this one isn't very different from the last one. It's just a more, it's a different way. It's a very similar problem, is what I'm trying to say. I'll give everyone until the 6 for them to try it out, and then I'm actually going to do it on Replit. Uh, like I said before, just because I'm doing it on Replit doesn't change how the thing actually works. So the code will be the same. So I'll just show you guys. Make sure after you write code, make sure you always test it out to ensure that you guys are doing the right problem. I mean, you guys are on the right track, not the right problem. All right, I will give everyone until the 6th to do it. Until then, I am here. If you have any questions, please leave it in the Q&A. And if anything is needed, it is in the live lecture notes section. All right. All right. I'm assuming everyone did the problem by now. Okay. So the problem, I'm just going to repeat it one more time, asks us to get three separate integers and then find which one is the highest. So, like before, our three numbers are going to be A, B, and C because it's simple. Equals int input. Please input the first number. Then we're going to have B equal int input. Please input the second number. And third one, C, is going to be int input. Please input the third number. And then once you get all these variables are going to hold the three numbers that we want. So let's make a series of if statements that checks which one is the highest. So if A is greater than B, A is greater than or equal to B, and A is greater than or equal to C, then max being the biggest number, that's where we're trying to find, is equal to A. Else if B is greater than or equal to A, and B is greater than or equal to C, then this will make B the greatest one. And then lastly, else, you don't need it. You might be wondering, why am I not putting the if statements for the last one for C? Well, if it's not A and if it's not B, it's going to be C because there's only three options. Max is equal to C. And we're gonna print the greatest number was, and then we're gonna put an addition sign, not an addition sign, a comma, and max. This means that they're going to put the first string, the string being the greatest number was, and then it's going to attach max to the end. And since it's a sentence, let's put a period at the end for the sake of it. So let's run it. First number, 34. 56, 73. The greatest number is 73. If you see here, there is a bit of an awkward space there. Yeah, but that's okay. So that was how you do the second problem. Any questions? Remember, guys, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have any questions, please just leave it in the Q&A section. All right. On VS Code, Yes. Also, after each one, Nathan will be in the live lecture notes giving a screenshot of the VS Code version of it. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. And yeah, so that was how you do number 2. If you can, Nathan, please upload just like a VS Code version of it. Like I said before, Python is just Python, so it'll be very similar. Starting tomorrow, we will be working on VS Code mostly. I apologize for not being able to open VS Code. I don't know what's wrong with it, to be honest. All right. I'm gonna explain the next problem. The next problem states, write a program that calculates the sum from 1 to the number entered by the user. So what does this mean? It means we're gonna start at number 1, and we're gonna continuously add the number after it and after it and after it, like 1, 2, 3, until the number given. So to make sure that so that's the program. I'm not gonna give any more explanation. But remember, we are adding all the numbers starting from 1 up to the user input. This one's a bit difficult, so I'll give everyone until the 16th to do it. If you have any questions, once again, don't be afraid to just ask in the question and answer section. So yeah, until then, until the 16th, I will be waiting. And if you have any questions, once again, feel free to ask. We don't bite. Just a quick check-in, guys. If you guys are done, um, if you guys have any questions, please leave it in the question and answer. And if you guys are already done with what you guys are doing, please just leave a note in the class, in the playground section. Just write done, and then yeah. So if you guys are done, wait, actually, never mind. I'll just give you guys another minute to solve the problem, and then I'll explain it, and then we'll move on to the next problem. All right. Extra time was requested, and it shall be granted. So, yeah. So, just another minute, guys, to try it out. If you guys don't worry if you guys can't do it. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean you're like bad at it or anything. It just means we still have a lot to learn together, and that's what's exciting. Okay, guys. Nathan is the one who actually has the VS Code open and work running, so he's gonna actually explain it for the rest of class today. So that's it for me today. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, as Sean said, yeah, I'll be explaining the problems today. So, yeah, let me just share my screen. Wait a minute. Okay. So, I believe we're on problem 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, but okay. So, problem 3, we're writing a program that calculates the sum from 1 to the number entered by the user. So, yeah. So this is kind of like so for example, if I open my notepad, if we type in 1, then we should get something like 1 because that's the only number. And then if we have 2, then we should print out 3 because this is just 1 plus 2, right? And then the next one is 3, and this should be 6 because 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. And I think you guys can kind of see the pattern here. So basically, every time we add like a number, basically we'll continue adding that number to the total sum, and then we will print that out. So yeah, I will show how to do it on VS Code. So right over here, you can see that I've already made a folder and all that. But just in case you guys have not done that already, just a quick overview. So you will want to go to your file explorer, which is like the yellow folder thing on your computer. And basically you just want to make a new folder. So for example, here I already have a folder called FLT classes, so I'm gonna just use that one. You guys can make a different folder name if you want. Just make sure that it's somewhere that you can like access really easily. So here it is, just here with my other Python program. So here I have my Python folder. And now when I go into Visual Studio Code, I can just open the folder using File and then Open Folder. So this button right here. So I'm gonna go click that. And then the folder I want is FLT classes. So I'll just select that folder and then, yeah, it opens up. Well, it was open already, but it should open up if you're making a new folder. And if, by the way, if you've already done all of this before, there's no need to do it again. This is just for the people who missed it the first time. But anyway, so you should have something like this, where you have like your folder name on like a bar, right? So if I click on the bar, you'll see that like it kind of like hides everything and then it shows everything again. And then same thing for this one. And you might notice 2 plus symbol buttons on the bar, right? So this is to make a new file, and this is to make a new folder. So let's just delete this folder for now, and let's just pretend I'm starting from scratch, right? If I'm starting from scratch, I might want like a subfolder. So like for example, I might want a folder for just today's class, like day 1, right? So I can just hit this new folder button, and then this like text box will appear, and basically I'll just type in the name of my folder into that text box. So that'll be just class 1. And then now inside of class 1, I probably want to add some programs, right? So like, for example, the problem 1, 2 that we added earlier, and I probably want to add it here. So I'll just hit the new file button. And then since we're working on problem 3, I'll just use problem 3. And then you want to add the .py at the end, so that way Visual Studio Code knows that it's a Python file as opposed to like a regular text file. So yeah, basically we just hit the enter key, and we can see that it makes a new program. So yeah, basically every time you want to make a new program, just hit this page with the plus on it, and then yeah, it'll create a new one. So anyways, going back to the problem, we wanted to find the sum from 1 to the number entered by a user. So as always with the previous two problems, we want like the user to input something, right? So we're going to need a variable to store that. I believe last time we used a, so we're going to just keep it like that. So a equals input, and then inside the quotation marks, we want to put like the prompt that we want to give the user. So we'll probably write something like enter a number or something, something simple. And then remember, since input, like that function returns a string, right? So we need to basically convert that to an integer, right? So again, we would just parse that using basically like this. So we'll put int in the front and then 2 parentheses. So yeah, this should just get our input. So this is just getting the input from the user. And then next we have to like add up all the numbers, right? So when we have to like repeat an action, so like for example, when we're calculating the sum from 1 to a number, we're going to have to like go through several numbers, right? We're going to have to go through all of the numbers between 1 and the number the user inputted, right? So the first thing that should come to mind is probably like a while loop or a for loop, right? So I'll show the for loop method because that's a lot more intuitive for this problem because we're working directly with numbers. So to start off, I'm going to make a separate variable. It's called sum, just to like store our current sum that we're going to print out, right? For now, this will be 0 because nothing's in it yet. And then we can start making our for loop and then we're going to have a variable just called I, but again, the variable name doesn't really matter. So for I in range, and then we want to start from 1, right? So we want to start from 1, and then we want to stop at a. But remember, when we type in the end number for a for loop, it's actually going to stop right before that. So if I put a, then it will only go from 1 to a minus 1. And that's not what we want, right? We want it to go from 1 to a, right? So we will need to add a plus 1 at the end, like this. And then I guess you can add a comma 1 for increment, but since that is the default, I'm not going to put that. And then we're going to have the colon, right? Colon at the end to show that the stuff under is part of the for loop. And basically all we need to do is we need to like keep adding numbers to sum, right? So we'll set sum equal to itself, right? And then plus the current number. So for example, when I is 1, sum would start off at 0, right? So then it will be 0, sum equals 0 plus 1. So now sum is 1, and then when we go to I equals 2, then it'll add 2 to sum, and then it'll just keep looping like that. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, let me zoom in actually, hold on. How do I do that? Okay, there we go. Okay, hopefully everyone can see that much better now. Sorry about that. So yeah, this is the code from before. Sorry if you couldn't see it earlier, but yeah, here it is now. So yeah, we have sum equals sum plus I. And yeah, that's just basically adding all of these stuff to sum. So now that that's over, all we need to do is just print sum. Oh. So yeah, that should be it. And then I'm gonna zoom out just a second just to like show it running. So when we have it run, you might, again, there's like a triangle in the top right corner. That is your run button. So if I click it, then this terminal pops up, and now it's asking me for a number. So again, I'll zoom in. So yeah, we have this, and now it's asking us to enter a number. So I'll just enter something like 5 or something. And we get 15. And just to make sure that's right, yeah, it is, because 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10, and then 10 plus 5 is 15. So yeah, our program does work. If you want to try some other numbers, there's like 4. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, 4 doesn't work. Hold on. Oh, wait, actually, never mind. It's because every time you want to test a new case, you need to hit the run button again, because otherwise it doesn't like actually run the program again. It'll just give you back whatever you inputted. So if I run it again and then hit forward, then it should work. So yeah, just every time you want to like test a new case, just make sure to always hit the triangle button at the top right. So yeah, now it works. So yeah, that's it for this problem. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to like copy down the code if you haven't already, and yeah. Are done. All right, that's good. All right, let me just figure out how to zoom this out. Okay, there we go. All right, so that was it for problem 3. And now we have problem 4, which is to write a program to print the nth term of the Fibonacci sequence. So yeah, in case you guys don't know, the Fibonacci sequence is something like, I believe it's like 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and then, yeah, it just keeps going on. And the idea of the Fibonacci sequence is like you add the first 2 numbers to get the next number, right? So like 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 5 is 8, yeah, so on and so forth. Sometimes it starts off with 0, like there are some variation towards like 0, 0, but I think for this program we'll just assume that it starts at 1. So we're going to just assume that the first term is 1, and then the second term is also 1, and then yeah. So nth term. So again, I'm gonna make a new program. Yeah, so I might just hit this new file button over here. This is problem 4, so I'll call it problem 4.py. And yeah, there we go, new problem. So yeah, let me just zoom in. Okay. And then like before, we're going to have to ask the user to like input a number. So we're going to use the same variable a, and since n is going to be an integer because it's like nth term, we're going to have to use the int like parentheses stuff, so I convert it to an int, and then input, and then our prompt will just probably be like enter a number, same prompt as last time. And then after that, we need to actually calculate the nth term of the Fibonacci sequence, right? So again, this is going to require a for loop because we're going to basically be computing it manually, right? So we're going to have like two numbers, and then those should add up to the third number, right? So yeah, so there are three key variables that we need to create, right? So let's just say that they're n1, and then this will be 1, n2 is also 1, and then n3, I guess, is technically n1 plus n2, which is 2. So basically what n1, n2, and n3 represent are like the first, like every 3 terms of the Fibonacci sequence. So if I go back to this example, n1 would represent this term, n2 would represent that term, and then n3 would represent like this 2 over here. And basically the idea is that we constantly change the values of n1, n2, and n3, so that way we can calculate like the final nth term that we want to actually get. So before we get into the for loop, there are some if statements that we need to consider, because the thing is that if it's n1, if the number they inputted was 1, 2, or 3, then we already have those values starting off. So we can do something like if n1 equals 1, or sorry, not that. If a equals 1, because that means that they want the first term, right? Then we can just print out 1 right away, because the first term is always going to be 1. We can say that for the second term as well. It should also be 1. And then this should be an elif actually, but yeah. And then the third one should be print 2. So basically the idea is that the third term should be 2, because it will always be 2 if the first term is 1 and the second term is also 1, because that's just like how the Fibonacci sequence works. And then finally in our else statement, so what happened here? Okay, I don't know what happened there, but we're going to just ignore that. Finally, we have our else statement, and basically this is just if they input a number other than 1, 2, or 3. So this will actually require the for loop, and basically we want to continue it until we reach the nth term, right? Sorry. So we're going to need for I in range, because that's how we usually start off our for loops. And then the start value, I guess, doesn't really matter, but for consistency, we can just start off at 3, because we know, or sorry, not 3, 4, because we know that the next term after 3 is the fourth term, right? Or sorry, the term after the third term is the fourth term, right? So yeah, we can just start off directly at the fourth term. So we can directly start off calculating the fourth term. And then again, we want to go to a plus 1, because remember, if we just type in a, then we would only go from 4 to the a minus 1 term. And that's not what we want, because we want the ace, or like the a term. Yeah. So inside the for loop, we're going to be calculating like the sums, right? So to start off, we're going to need to like switch a lot of these numbers. So I'm going to have like a temporary sum variable here, and that'll just be n2 plus n3, right? Because in the Fibonacci sequence, we're adding the last 2 numbers, right? So in order to get like the next term, so for let's use I equals 4 as an example. So like when we get the fourth term, right, we need to add the third term and the second term. So that's what I'm doing here. We're adding n2 and n3. And now we put that in sum. And then this is where we like start doing some switching. So now that sum is equal, so basically this is a placeholder for n3, right? So this is what n3 should be at the end. So that means that n3, wait, no, that's not right, sorry. n2 equals n3. So basically, n2, we're swapping the values of n2 and n3. So n3, this 2 becomes n2 now, which makes sense, right? Because as we're like moving through the Fibonacci sequence, each term should be shifted down. Oh wait, actually, sorry. Before that, we have to do n1 equals n2 because basically this term needs to be shifted down first, and then we need to shift down this term to here. So yeah, we will need to do n1 equals n2 first, and then n2 equals n3. And then we can shift it so that n3 equals sum. So in case it's like a little confusing, let me explain what I mean. So sorry, true, I did not mean to open that up. So let's say I equals 4, right? So we're trying to find the fourth term, and then the sum is of course 3 because that's the fourth term in the Fibonacci sequence. So then basically what happens is that n1 now becomes 1 because n2 was 1. So then so yeah, n1 takes the value of n2, and then n3 becomes, or sorry, n2 now becomes the value of n3, which is 2, right? So now it's like 1, I'm gonna put comments here, but like it'll basically be like 1, and then this is now 2, and this should be now 3. So in other words, n3 is always getting like the sum term, right? Because that's what we wanted to do. And yeah, so basically that's the idea. And then at the very end, we can just print out n3. Oh, sorry. A comma. Please explain. Oh, okay. So, yeah, this is one way to do it, but actually, apparently, there is a lot simpler way to do it. So, if you guys were kind of lost for this one still works. It's just that it's a little more confusing. So, I will show you a more simplified version. So, again, we're going to have the same a equals input, enter a number. So yeah, that still remains the same, but oh sorry, enter 2 numbers. So basically, so yeah, we want it to enter 2 numbers, and then oh wait, no. This is still still 1 number. Sorry. So yeah, this still enter a number, and then we're actually going to just call this n because it makes it a lot simpler. So that way we won't have to deal with n1 and n2 and n3. So the neat thing about Python is that you can actually just set. So you know how like up here we just did n1 equals 1, n2 equals 1, n3 equals 2. So yeah, that takes up 3 lines, and that's kind of annoying. So instead, what we can do is we can do something like this, right? A comma b equals 0 comma 1, and Python will just basically set a equal to 0 and then b equal to 1. Also, we are starting from 0 in this case, so technically speaking, the Fibonacci sequence kind of looks like this. So yeah, yeah, so now we start from 0, Just keep that in mind. And then we'll have a separate variable, I, which equals 0. And I'll explain that in a bit. And instead of using a for loop, we can actually just use a while loop. So I'm gonna just use a while loop here, and it'll just basically be I is less than n. So like until I is less than n, until I is greater than or equal to n, which is what we want, this loop will keep running. Oh, and the idea is that, sorry. So, oh, okay. So yeah, again, we can do the same thing, where we do this, right? A comma B equals B comma A plus B. So, this is kind of like doing this thing all into one line. So all of this just gets simplified to one line. And for reference, A and B are just like the two numbers that we start off with. So in the Fibonacci sequence, we start off with 0 and 1. So after one iteration of this while loop, 0 and 1 should now become 1 and 1. And then after a second iteration, it's like 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3, so on. Yeah. And then, of course, in order to avoid an infinite loop, we have to do I plus equal 1, which, by the way, is the same thing as I equals I plus 1, but it's like shorthand, so it's faster. And basically, at the very end, all we need to do is just print out B, like that. So I'll just comment out this code, just so the output does not get confusing. And yeah, we can have, so yeah, basically this is just our code. So yeah, n, by the way, is just the number, the nth term, and then b is basically our final output. So yeah, let's try running it. If I enter a number like 2, I get 2 because 1. Oh wait, maybe we also start from 0 here. Hold on. 0, 1, 2. Wait, no, that doesn't work out. Oh wait, sorry. B should not be. It should be A, I think. It should be A. So let me try it again. Okay, yeah, there we go. And then 3. Okay. So this is all right. So for the Fibonacci sequence, again, this is kind of different because we're actually starting from the 0th term, then the 1st, then the 2nd, then the 3rd, then the 4th. And then basically, so the 0th term is 0. The first term is the first term is 1. The second term is also 1. And then the third term is 2. So that's how we're setting it up. So yeah, if that was confusing, sorry about that. But yeah, now it should, now it should work. So yeah, basically this is the code. This should be print A instead of print B because B actually goes one more number ahead. So, and that's not what we want. So we want it to be at A. So yeah, I'll just give you guys a couple minutes to copy it down unless you've already got it, in which case we'll just move on to the next problem. And yeah, sorry for all of the like switching and all that. Hopefully it didn't confuse you guys too much. Oh, sorry to butt in, but if you want to like print out every term instead of just the nth term, so like for example, when we input the number 3, we want it to be like 0, 1, 1, 2. We can just move this print a statement all the way up here. So like print a, and then there's a special command we can do called end equals and then space. So you might be wondering, like, what does that mean? Because the thing is that when we like output numbers, right, we probably want like spaces to be in between them, right? So we want it to be like 1, 1, 2, or sorry, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, etc. Right? So that way it's easier to read. Basically, the end equals space just puts a space at the very end, which is very handy. So again, if I run it, and then let's just pick like 5 or something, then yeah, we can see that we have 5 numbers now, from ranging from 0 to 3, just like that. So yeah, that's something else that's cool about Python, the shorthand notation. So yeah, just as before, just let me know when you guys are finished and ready to move on. Okay, so I think you guys are done, hopefully. So we'll just move on to the next problem. In case you haven't copied it down, it should still be in the live lecture notes section. So now we want to do problem 5, right? So we're going to be creating a new file. Oh, okay, actually, never mind. You guys can have some more time for problem 4. Yeah, I'll give you guys a couple more minutes. Oh, okay. So I've heard that you guys are done now. In which case, good job. So now we'll move on to problem 5. Oh, what happened here? Sorry. So again, we want to hit the new file button right over here. We're working on problem 5 now, so that's problem5.py. We can also close these previous ones since they're taking up space. And yeah, let's look at what problem 5 wants. Write a program that prints the multiplication table. So I'm assuming that this is talking about like one of these things. So you might have seen these when you were like younger and like learning math for the first time. But like, yeah, something like this. So basically, it's like the first row is like all of the ones. The second row is like all of your 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s. Yeah. And then basically the columns are just like what you're multiplying it. So basically, every like, I guess you can say like, what's this called? Like every box represents like the multiplication of two numbers, right? So we want to essentially create that in Python. So yeah, so for this one, we can just set another input thing where we want the user to like enter another number. And basically what this number represents is like the size of the grid. So for example, if they input like a 5, then we will give them like a 5 by 5 multiplication grid. If it's like a 4, then it's a 4 by 4, etc. So for this one, there aren't going to be any other variables because we can just like print it out directly. So we're going to just basically use 2 for loops because we want to like create like a grid, right? And essentially the first the first for loop would just be in range of 1 because most multiplication tables start at like 1, and then it should end at n plus 1 because again we want it to go from 1 to n. The second one should be the same thing because again most multiplication tables are square. So yeah, basically it's the same parameters. And now we want to like actually print the numbers, right? So inside the second for loop, we print out I times j, and then we can do the n equals, sorry, it's like the autofill is blocking all of the code, but yeah, it should look like this because basically for every column, there should be like a number corresponding to it, representing the multiplication of two numbers, right? And then again, we want to separate them by spaces so that way it's like easier to read and whatnot. Now, after we do all of the columns, right, we need to go down to the next rows. So like, for example, after we do all of the ones, we gotta go down to the 2s. So we need like a blank line in between each row, right? So in order to do that, again, sorry for all of this, but we would do print \n. So \n is basically like the command for making a new line. So when we print a \n, we are like basically making, it's like the same thing as hitting the enter key on your computer. So that's like making a new row. And then remember, if you look here, this print statement is actually outside of this for loop. This second for loop was the j for loop. And that's because you want to make a blank line every row, right? You don't want it every column because then it's going to just be like a very long line. That's not what we want. We want like a grid. So that's why it's under the I for loop as opposed to a j for loop. And then yeah, after that it should be finished. We can check it by running it. So, for example, let's just say I enter like a 5 again. And as you can see here, we get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let me make this bigger, but you can essentially see that it's like all of the numbers, right? They're in. The reason why it's not looking like a grid is because it's not formatted, and we can format it with a library called Pandas, I believe. But that will be covered in a much later class. So for now, it'll look like kind of like this weird trapezoid thing, but at least you can like see like how the program works, with like the grids and the rows. That's just basically what the idea of this problem is. Just like getting used to making those 2D arrays, or sorry, not 2D arrays, but like nested for loops. So yeah. Again, I'll give you guys some time to copy the code, and yeah, here's like the output in case you want to like check it as to how it should look like.
All right, guys, it is time to actually wrap up. So your homework is to go over the problems that we did, simple problems one, and try it out for yourself in VS Code. And your other homework is to go on Solo Learn and finish and try to get the certificate if you can on the introduction to Python on the Solo Learn website. And we will also provide typing practices for you guys to actually practice typing skills, because being able to type quickly is an essential skill when it comes to a skilled programmer. So yeah, that's going to be your homework for today. We will post the homework once again on the homework channel on Discord. Once you guys get onto it, please just try it out. And the links for the thing, Slow Learn typing practices, are on the what is it called? The message I just sent on the homework channel. So please do that do as much as you can by tomorrow. And yeah, if you need anything, please contact us, and we will try to respond as soon as we can. And until tomorrow, goodbye, and we will all see you tomorrow. Have a nice rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.